and gentlemen, please welcome our players for our women's team semifinal match between UCLA and Harvard. Representing UCLA, Joanna Sung, Angie Tan, Crystal Yu, and Carrie Fang. Representing Harvard, Kelly Yen, Stephanie Chen, Jingting Lin, and Marianne Wong. This is the women's team semifinal. Good luck, ladies.
Well, some very clear instructions there from our umpire to get this match on the way. Women's team semi-finals here on this lovely Saturday morning at UW Health Sports Factory in Rockford, Illinois. And Matt Hetherington. Sean, did you even leave here?
No, I spent the night.
Here the whole night.
I had decided I didn't want to give up my great seat here in the arena, but we're got a treat here with the very strong UCLA women's team that totally dominated the doubles, having both teams in the finals last night. And Harvard is making its way to the center court for the first time.
Seems like the players are... Joanna's convinced that the ball sounds broken, so they'll get another one. When you've played table tennis for as many hours as a lot of these players, you get a very keen ear for kind of thing. Yeah, UCLA are definitely the team to beat for anything in the women's doubles, teams, singles.
And what makes it more impressive is their top 2 students aren't even playing this year, with Rachel Sung and Amy Wong, Olympians from Paris. Rachel is here.
She's here as a volunteer.
As a volunteer doing some media services, which is always exciting to see.
Looking very classy in her Ray-Ban Metas, walking around.
Recording people when they're not knowing.
Yeah.
So it should be a very interesting match with Kelly Yen out of Hong Kong, a member of the national team. I was talking to Willie, and he mentioned the Zoom call that he had with her, where she asked if it would be possible to get into Harvard. He ended up writing a letter of recommendation, and lo and behold, she made her way to Harvard campus using table tennis and NCTTA as the letter of recommendation.
There you go, folks. College table tennis.
If you want to get into a good school, work with NCTTA, because they've got the connections.
Yeah, I mean, she's definitely the strongest player on the Harvard team.
Part of her thank you was then to play in the teams event in D.C. with Willie.
Oh, that I didn't know.
Yeah. So
I didn't know they were on the same team. Yeah,
also
I did
with
see her playing there.
Alan Chu played. They had a wonderful time. That was after Kelly had played in a Westchester event just to get a rating. So great treat to have Harvard in the semifinals.
She's second seed for the women's singles behind Sarah Jolly, so she's actually a spot ahead of Joanna in the singles.
After speaking with Willie, she said her goal was to help elevate table tennis in the U.S. to be similar to what it is in Hong Kong. So Willie couldn't believe his ears after chatting with her via Zoom. And now she has her team in the semifinals.
This looks pretty solid to me. She has great technical form. You don't really see any stress in her shots.
She has a nice fade away or look away.
(5-1) lead here in the first game. It'd certainly be a nice start for Harvard if they could get this first point on the board.
Beautiful forehand down the line. Taking your time. Great angle. Keeping it straight. And just storming out to a 6-1 lead.
Angie Tam playing over on table 2. Joanna and Angie be part of the US women's team going to the World University Games in Germany in July.
Definitely impressed with Kelly's technique, shot selection, and execution. It shouldn't surprise us. She's a neuroscience, econ, and CS major.
That's a major. Neuroscience. CS. Oh, it's double major. Economics and neuroscience. She's neuroscience and CS together. Interesting. Still holds a 3-point lead here in the first game. Joanna's been able to make up some ground.
Very strong over the table play.
I mean, this women's team is basically the bulk of the Coed team anyway.
Exactly. It's one of the few that Both the women's team and the co-ed team can use the other event to get ready.
I must say, it's a pretty nice morning today in Rockford. Came over here this morning, it was very clear skies. One would say the perfect weather for a table tennis player to be indoors. That's kind of it's one of the things you miss out on as an athlete playing an indoor sport.
Joanna continuing to battle back. So Kelly with game number 1 very convincingly over Joanna Sung, 11-6.
I think Joanna's certainly the more aggressive player on the backhand side, but Kelly's really steady, really comfortable.
I loved her forehand down the line, just
yeah. Kind of reminds me of Gina Fu and Jashin's match yesterday, where Gina was really aggressive close to the table. Jashin was like mid-distance, kind of just rolling through the contact. I feel like there's a lot of similarities, and that was probably the best match we saw yesterday.
Absolutely. Now we've been treated to some amazing table tennis. Even this morning's match with NYU over Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
Just the level just impresses me, getting higher and higher.
Kelly's just over there in her own world in the corner, just in her own headspace. Good start there from Joanna. She has consistently held a strong pace. She's setting a really quick pace in these rallies. Every point she's trying to apply as much pressure as possible.
So Matt, I've got a question. You might know the answer. So you've got both Rachel and Joanna at UCLA. Why weren't they roommates?
Do you have siblings?
No. No, I do. I have an older sister, but I wouldn't be going to college with her because she's the age differences.
I'm going to have to clip that out of the live stream, Sean, or you're going to be in trouble.
I was thinking you're talking about a twin.
I don't think there are too many. Okay, I mean, siblings, like when you when you grow up and you're old enough to leave home, you've spent more than enough time with them and had more than enough fights. And
well, my thought is that the siblings I know from table tennis, Diana and Lisa G, they were roommates.
Well, the Algettis, I think, were roommates, Sharon and Gal. But
yeah. So
I mean, it's a question you could ask them, but I can't imagine it would.
I would think it would be a little bit challenging to have and they have Amy and Rachel have such a nice relationship, considering they're like teammates, and maybe it's because they play doubles, right? So I wouldn't want to have my main rival in my room every day. So I just figured that the sisters would stay together. So
I know they did some fun interviews last year for NCTTA with Joanna, where they asked her about Rachel.
Exactly. I remember those. Those are still online.
I don't know what the backlash was like when she got back home. It's fun, though. I love that kind of content. It's I would love to see more of it in table tennis.
Yeah. Things you weren't aware of, my sister.
Yeah.
Right now, Kelly Yen is really controlling all facets of the game, now up 7-2 after winning the first game.
I mean, one of the things that people who are new to watching table tennis, they don't really see the depth of each point. So, you know, players playing backhand to backhand, they're hitting a ball back and forth. You're like, okay, backhand to backhand. But there's so much tempo control that Kelly's doing in these rallies, where some backhands she's adding a little bit more rotation. So you see her close the angle and go over the ball a little bit.
Oh, did you see that? Nice strawberry there. Holy cow.
Sometimes she's slowing the ball down in the middle of the rally. So I think her tempo control has been really good. And Joanna's quick, and she sets a quick pace, and she tries to keep that pressure. And I think Kelly has done a good job of disrupting it by speeding up, slowing down, adding spin, taking spin away. So every time you see what looks like a normal backhand rally, there's actually a lot going on.
Just Kelly's strokes are so fundamentally sound. She never has to really overplay. It seems with Joanna, she's going for bigger shots. I think that's why you see the difference in the score. It's shown in the ratings here, with Kelly seated second after Sarah Jolly. Obviously anything can happen.
Yeah, I mean, Joanna's seated third, so you can see that. Almost wonder if Kelly might be the favorite to take the singles crown.
If this is
if
this match is any indication, I think Sarah, playing for Baylor, came through the regionals as the only Baylor player to qualify for nationals, so it can be a little daunting coming here without a full set of teammates. As you mentioned earlier, Matt, that Harvard, the co-ed team and the women's team is very similar. Again, showing the strength of Kelly. Like that attempt, a little inside out over the table. Be a fun way to finish the game.
Yeah, just really solid performance so far from Kelly Yen. I think you talked about her technical game, and like I said earlier as well, there's not really any stress in her shots. You don't see any part of her body that's trying to put in extra work. Everything flows together quite nicely. And when you're playing these high-pace rallies, having that solid technical base really reduces the risk when you want to play the bigger shots, or you want to go for the misdirection or the risky down the line placements. Having that technical foundation just increases those percentages so much. Whereas I think for Joanna, if she wanted to do something really, you know, like different, go for like a more aggressive attack or go for a really aggressive placement, there's more variables that could reduce the probabilities of the success rate going in her favor.
Yeah, just looking at the two players and style of play, this isn't a knock on Joanna, but it seems like she has a little bit more pattern-ish, where she sets up certain plays, where Kelly Yen literally could go anywhere on any shot and it would look just as fluid, and it's just her connective ability to play one shot to the next. I think that just speaks to her level, her overall level.
I mean, I feel like if Kelly was matching Joanna's pace, I think it would be a completely even match.
Oh, great shots
nice
by Joanna.
there.
And that's what she's going to have to do. There's no reason for her to try to out-consistent Kelly. She's got to put something behind the ball, because Kelly's ability to change the tempo is something that you can't just play safe against. Kelly really selects her shots well, but more importantly, the placement. You can see even just the side spin chop block right to the elbow, not giving Joanna anything to work with. And the serves that Kelly is using are very aggressive.
Really nice save. Great point. Great finish from Joanna. She has stepped up the aggression.
I was just going to say, really adding extra to each shot. Second time that Kelly has kind of stopped right in the middle of the point, whether she wasn't sure if it was going to catch the edge. She still returned it. It seems like once she gets into the rhythm, her off the bounce play adds a little bit more spin.
Yeah.
Which really kind of handcuffs Joanna. The player I remember doing that the most with Chen Yinghua over the last number of years, where it's a quick block, but then it jumps on you. You don't have time to take a full backswing. But Joanna's doing a much better job now here in game 3. Teammate Angie Tan is leading 2-0 against Stephanie Chen. About to finish with a 3-0 victory for match number 2 with UCLA fighting against Harvard.
Great placement there down the line from Joanna. I think also when she's playing these quicker rallies, it's really important for her to get the ball deep on the table.
Absolutely.
If Kelly has even that little amount of space, she has more room to change things. But if Joanna's driving the ball really deep on the table and taking that space away, that kind of helps force Kelly into matching that pace or just returning the ball in a more reactive manner.
Kelly's strokes are so much more compact. Joanna, with a bit of height on her, it's going to take a little bit longer backswing, needs a little bit more time. Great play by Joanna Kelly
Really
with some
good.
nice forehand and backhand combinations. Oh, that's just a beautiful forehand by Kelly Yen. Just great topspin.
Yeah, really clean contact. I mean, Joanna's in a great position here. It's more a question of whether she can sustain this level of intensity to get her through 3 more games. I think she's certainly in a favorable position for this 3rd game, if she keeps going the way she's going.
Wow, just a great down the line shot by Joanna.
You can see now Joanna making pace adjustments. Soft block cross, punches down the line.
Always great to see when you have to score a winner to make the point. Joanna, the 3-point lead. It's just that extra topspin that Kelly Yen plays on the ball begins to kick up a little bit even.
So 8-6 for Joanna.
Great deep push to the elbow. Looks like we're going to get a timeout for UCLA.
Hellions closed the gap to within 1. Angie Tan and Kerry Fang on the bench. It's half of the finalist medals in the women's doubles from yesterday. Kerry taking a silver medal. Angie Tan a gold. Joanna also a gold. It's a good start to the weekend for UCLA. Successful World University Games trial campaign by some of their players, and then straight into the medal rounds for
Joanna, excellent play against some very deep returns. I was about to say, look how deep Kelly plays the ball on each of these shots. Joanna up for the challenge. Oh, and once again, Joanna comes up big with a forehand winner. Nice backhand opening, couple of counters, but nailing the forehand to get within game point here in game 3, trailing 2-0.
The ball goes long and Joanna Sung takes game 3, and you have to wonder how things would look at the end of this third game if Joanna had started playing like this in the first game. She definitely made some great adjustments to her game between the end of game 2 and the start of game 3.
Interesting how Joanna has 2 teammates giving her advice, and Kelly Yen is in the corner having a conversation with herself, going over everything that she knows she needs to do. Almost seems like she's got AirPods in, chatting.
Talking about seeing a player from Australia that I hadn't seen since 2011. There he is on the bench. Levi Romanoff. He's a Harvard student now. It's one of the best things about college table tennis. You can run into people that you haven't seen in a decade. I mean, for me, seeing Dave Delvecchio, I mean, we don't really see him. I don't know when the last time you saw him was, but it's nice to catch up with people that sometimes college nationals is the only time you get to see them on the calendar now.
I had Seamont bring me over, I think the last time when he was applying for a job out in Portland. But going back before that, of course, he was the origins of the Virginia Tech dynasty, winning the women's individual team event in 2005 at Texas Wesleyan. We had a lot of joint training sessions with UVA and Virginia Tech. So as you said, Matt, rekindling old friendships and seeing a lot of familiar faces, whether it's Linda Leaf, Scott Ryan coming over helping with the officials, but also seeing the new faces here with players like Kelly Yen, who I know is going to be doing a lot to help improve and make collegiate table tennis in its rightful place. And we do have 2 Sung sisters here as well this weekend, with Olympian Rachel taking on media duties.
Oh, we have 3, because Trinity's here as well.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so all 3 of them are here.
Oh, what great feet and hands by Joanna. Just covering the entire table. Stepping in, snapping that backhand for a winner. Excellent focus, concentration. And Joanna now with a 2-point lead and the serve. Oh. Looked like she was deciding she was going to play a forehand regardless. And right now in the driver's seat with a chance to go up 6-2.
Yeah, she's really dictating terms here in games 3 and now in game 4.
Looking at the body language right now, Joanna definitely feeling it. Kellyanne much more reserved.
Tomahawk serve.
Yeah. It works. I was wondering if we were going to see a reverse tomahawk ding ding style as she lines up
not
here.
Not too late. Joanna is on a roll right now. I think when the match kind of started off, I felt maybe there's a level gap between the second and third seeds between these two players, but as the match has gone on, you start to see that maybe Joanna just had a slow start and now she's getting into a groove.
Matt, sometimes I like to think you've got good players, then you've got players that play good. And right now, Joanna is totally executing. She's figured out a way of getting past the strong. Look at that. Just turning the corner the second time now on the forehand. Kellyanne was in control. Looked like she had the point where she wanted it. But then Joanna Sung just blasts through the ball and puts it away. It's the second time she's stepped around her backhand with that forehand.
I mean, the other thing you look at here for the team match overall, this is really Harvard's biggest chance to get themselves on the board against a very strong UCLA team. If Joanna wins this match, puts Harvard in an incredibly difficult position.
They'd have to have at least 2, if not 3 upsets.
Yeah, and you don't want it to go down to the doubles against UCLA.
Right, they've already shown where they are at the doubles level. And look at this. Just really solid misdirection by Joanna. I really like her attitude right now. Up for the challenge, ready to compete. Bringing her A game into this critical first match. Kellyanne, little misdirection with her forehand. This is such a new experience for her as a freshman. Joanna more aware.
The thing I wonder about is, does Kelly have more gears? What I'm wondering, like, what she can bring to the table if this goes to 5. I'm just wondering what we can expect from Kelly, if there are still things that she can bring that will help her regain control, because right now Joanna is fully in control of this match.
Whoa, that ball catches the edge of the paddle. You know, Matt, I would almost think that having Kellyanne slow things down, maybe take some spin off the ball, because right now Rachel is completely dialed in. Joanna. I mean, she's playing so well, it looks like. But yeah, Joanna's so dialed in right now that any pace she's using to her benefit.
Yeah, I mean, she's kind of compounding and doubling down on everything.
So adding some extra spin, and right now Joanna's going to have to be extremely careful. She does not want this to go to deuce.
I feel like she's in a tough spot of having to choose whether she takes risk or whether she tempers things down.
That was the extra topspin by Kelly Yen. Tough to play those balls so fast off the bounce.
Yeah, you just see that arc on the forehand and you know that
If you come in
it's a
early
heavy topspin.
and you start lifting through the ball, it's going to fly. And that was a dead short push.
I'm a little surprised at this last little turnaround here. Definitely felt like Joanna was in a good place. But Kelly Yan has answered my question about changing things and changing gears. And wow, is that five in a row?
Whoa.
Comes back to win the fourth game, 12-10. Just when you felt like it might be going to 5, Kelly Yen from Harvard gets her team on the board and picks up the win. Great job. You got a feel for Joanna. I mean, she
played
picked
awesome.
up so much momentum, and it really felt like she was going to take that game.
I mean, it was just literally 2 to 3 errors by the smallest of margins at the end of the game after she really dominated games 3 and 4 tempo-wise, and again, landing her forehand. Some of those shots it looked like she was stepping around before the ball was hit by Kelly Yen. So we are now tied up 1 match apiece, and UCLA has in match number 3, which is between Crystal Liu against Jing Ting Lin. Crystal has won the first game. They're tied at 6 apiece. So
We have Marianne Wong and Carrie Fang coming out onto table 1. That match will start in a few moments once the teams get out here. Harvard and UCLA tied 1 match each after Angie Tan picked up a win for UCLA. And as you just saw, if you were with us, Kelly Yen from Harvard beating Joanna Sung with a great comeback in Game 4. Marianne Wong taking on Kerry Fang here. Kerry, the defender. Interesting to see how Marianne handles the chop from Kerry. That serve goes long. Let's carry the 5-4 lead. Haven't seen too many longer rallies yet from either of these players, so sometimes in the first game when you're playing attack versus defense, it's about getting through the unforced errors early on.
Kerry doing a really nice job of loading up the spin. Would not surprise me if this match goes 4, if not 5 games, as both players very strong in imposing their game on the opponent. Definitely much more critical, I think, for Harvard to try to get matches wherever they can.
Oh yeah,
with the depth of UCLA. It was huge for Kelly Yen to get that first win over Joanna Sung.
It's always a game of patience. That's attack versus defense. More so in the women's game. Usually a lot of the time you'll see them trying to focus on looping forehand. If they get into these longer backhand rallies, there's a lot of pushing and trying to move their opponent around. So a lot of positioning goes on in these rallies before they pick the ball to attack.
Lucky break there for Marianne.
sends that one long, and Kerry Fang wins the first game. Now, Sean, I heard Berkeley had a close one this morning with Cornell. They, I know Nikhil didn't play. They had Sid and Vade in the first 2 spots, and Cornell switched their order and put Gina and Muskan in the
Third
other 2. Yeah, so it didn't quite go to the doubles, but I heard it was a little
Dicey,
a little dicey.
or as one of our friends would say, spicy.
Spicy and spice and dice. So, Kerry Fang just going through the motions in game 1. It must be nice as a chopper when you go into the first game and your opponent's not quite comfortable and just there are a couple of things just a little bit off. So like, you know, that ball, a couple of adjustments and that goes on. But in the first game, a lot of those go a little bit long, or they're just trying to get the measure of the ball, and Kerry can just kind of sit back in that first game and defend more and give herself some more space and some more time.
Nice thing is Kerry, when she is chopping, she's very aggressive. I mean, she's not just getting the ball back. You can even see on the serve, there's always a nice little snap to her follow through and contact.
And I mean, to be completely fair, not easy to develop a defensive game. I mean, all credit to Tim Wong, obviously, because he's a great coach. But being a chopper and not having specifically a coach or someone to play with that chops, it's difficult. It's really hard, and he's done a good job. She's done a great job. To get the technique down and to kind of go from where she was in the beginning to where she is now, impressive. You know, and Colorado is not a lot of training partners out there. I mean, there was in your day because you had the Olympic Training Center there, but I think she's done a fantastic job of developing her game over the years to be a great contender in the youth girls category in the US, and now that she's at UCLA and in California, we'll kind of see where things go next for her.
Yeah, being a chopper in Colorado, because the ball actually travels faster, is even more of a challenge, but it does improve your reflexes, because when people go for their big shots there, the ball is flying. Coming out of Fort Collins, or at least her hometown. Yeah, high altitude is an interesting dynamic that when you go down to sea level, you only think about going up, but if you live in high altitude, it's just as challenging. Serves tend to go a lot shorter, so practicing serves at high level, at altitude, and then going to sea level, you're almost screwed up. Yeah. And there's a nice serve there by Marianne, serving a back edge.
I think that's part of the reason you see so much bite in Kerry's contact, because she's probably used to driving the ball down a little bit more. I mean, usually the go-to strategy in adjusting to high altitude is aim for the top of the net.
Right.
And if you aim for the top of the net, usually you'll get a little bit of clearance.
Takes about a solid 2.5 to 3 weeks to get a feel for it.
Yeah.
But if you play somebody who lives there kind of year-round, they have such an advantage. It's not even close.
Yeah, I lived there for a year back in 2019. So I played with Kerry a little bit every now and then. And the one thing that I can say is that I was basically superhuman when I came back down, because I was going to the gym 4 times a week. Came back, ran my blood tests back at sea level. All the red blood count stuff is up. You know, they were like, wow, athlete, you know, for the one time in my life. That lasted about 3 months, and then it was back to the usual.
Max sponge isn't necessary at high altitude because the ball is already flying. They say it can be like a 2 club head in golf, and they have special high-altitude tennis balls. So it is a different speed right now.
Anyway, there's your, for everyone at home who ever wondered about table tennis at altitude, there is your short seminar. 8-4 for Kerry. Marianne just hasn't really found much comfort in playing against defense. And, you know, you also have to consider the fact that a lot of these girls that are playing college table tennis, they probably don't get to play against defensive players that often. You know, I mean, there are a few of them across the US, but I would say you kind of have to be in the California or maybe the New Jersey, Maryland kind of East Coast hub.
At least a hub, yeah.
Yeah, outside of that, it's going to be fairly uncommon to find a female chopper to play against.
Wow.
Lucky break. Marianne's serving some really nice, deep, long serves. I mean, she's painting that back edge of the table.
Oh, beautiful backhand pick hit by Kerry.
Yeah, there's a price to be paid by being too patient. So I think, as difficult as it is, I think Marianne has to move and play more forehand. You know, instead of doing that split of the table, this is my backhand half, this is my forehand half, and doing a lot of pushing, I think if you want to have better success against a chopper in the women's game, lots of forehand footwork. And, you know, for her, playing slower, spinnier loops, the odds of Kerry countering them straight away are not crazy high. So you've got to give your chance yourself to just brush at the ball, slow spin, get into a bit of more of a rhythm. I think Marianne so far has kind of gone for broke on a lot of those opportunities, and a lot of the time you make an unforced error, but it also doesn't help prepare you for the next time. So Kerry with a 2-0 lead, UCLA up 2-1 in this women's team semi-final.
Kerry
UCLA
continuing to create her own opportunities, that back edge of the table, but she is chopping deeper, moving it around. We saw some nice backhand pick hits, and now look at with Harvard just having a number of issues. Not the way you want to start game 3. Feeling the pressure.
Kind of trying to think of who we would expect to potentially meet UCLA in the women's team final. Almost wondering if Cornell would be one contender. I think they are in the semi-final. Not sure. Maybe Ohio State or Boston. Have to try and find out. So timeout for Harvard and Wong. Kerry 4-0 up here in the third game. Yeah, so it's actually Cornell and NYU playing in the other
Semi.
Oh yeah, of course, because there's Anastasia and Tiffany playing for NYU. So I think NYU will be the slight favorites going against Cornell. So that is the bulk of the, well, that's all of the University Games team, apart from Emily.
Credit the timeout to Harvard as they score the first point after the break, giving Marianne a chance to get on the board.
Much better play from her. These are the kind of points she needed to be playing earlier on. I think just slowing down and brushing more. Nice drop there as well.
But really using her forehand a lot more effectively.
Yeah, I mean, that's also fine. Right? Just slow spin the ball. As soon as she gets more of a feel and a more comfort at playing that brushing game, she can take that and increase the pace if she needs to. But you've got to build that feel for the, you know, getting the right trajectories, getting the right spin. Usually you want to do that pretty early on. She's doing it here in the third game. It's a little late, but better late than never, right? Plenty can happen even when you're down 2-0 in a match. Yeah, much better play. Oh, that one's...
Both players getting their share of nets and edges.
I think this is a much more textbook approach to playing against defense. It is 4-5. So Wong trails by, I was going to say 1, but it's 2 now. 6-4 for carry. We haven't really seen Carey attack too much, which just kind of shows you that she clearly doesn't feel like her defensive game's under pressure right now.
Right. Just happy to sit back and mix the spin and let Marianne kind of choose the outcome of the point, knowing that she's changing it. There is a little bit of a backhand hit. We saw her finish off game. Not sure if it was game
1, game 2.
Game 2 with a nice backhand
So it's a
pick
coin
hit.
flip here, 50-50. I think it was game 2, yeah.
She was on the far side. Three points away from moving into the finals. Look at that heavy underspin. Reminds me of some of the top Russian female choppers who would always snap their wrist when they're chopping, especially close to the body.
Yeah, there were certainly some good European defensive players around 20 years ago now. It's slowly
Now I'm
phased out.
dating you now.
I remember some of them, just. Yeah, I mean, you had like Tamina, and
Yep,
after that was Pavlovich.
exactly.
Yeah.
Seemed like the tall European women that were choppers really added an extra snap to everything. Well, right now, UCLA is 1 point away, match and tie point, to reaching the finals, which would be the second in 2 days, after they totally dominated the women's doubles, first and second gold and silver.
I mean, honestly, UCLA could have fielded 2 women's teams and probably had a chance of doing it in the team final, but only one team per school allowed. Wong taking a longer rally, but Kerry Fang gets the job done 3-0 and hands the win to UCLA, the top seeds, who will advance into the women's team finals. Great performance by UCLA. Solid match from Kelly Yen for Harvard, getting her point with a win over Joanna Sung, but ultimately UCLA clearly the favorites out here. We have a big co-ed matchup coming up next on table 1 between Berkeley and NYU. Semi-final, we'll have Jeremy Hazine and Nikhil Kumar on table 1. So take a little break and get yourself some snacks, because I'm sure that's going to be a great match. We'll be right back.